I'm from hometown Pennsylvania. I relocated to perform for Walt Disney World, where I worked in Fantasyland, and I live in Sherwood Forest. So Disney is everything I never knew I always wanted. I never thought I would perform for Disney. I was always bigger. I was always taller. We have such a warped sense of ourselves. And I always thought I was bigger. I always thought I was fatter. I always thought I was just fat. I look back on my pictures and I did not realize I was actually skinny.
I'm not interrupting, but literally I am because literally my best friend from childhood, I'm talking 15, she's known
Right.
me since I was dancing to the Smiths and reading Sylvia Plath, God bless her. And she sent me pictures and she goes, I didn't find my senior pictures, but I found these and we look beautiful in them. I mean, we just look so pretty. I mean, I was like, God, we were gorgeous kids and we didn't know it. We just wouldn't let ourselves know it. And you're right. That is one of the main things I want people to realize about themselves inside and out. You can't be just good looking on the outside because you know those people are just, we're lucky. We got both. But
When I thought of Disney, I grew up watching Annette Funicello. She was thin. She was a dancer. And I was thinking petite, thin dancer. That's all Disney is. I was
mhm.
watching all these Mouseketeers as I was growing up, and they were all thin. They were all petite. And here I just kept getting taller and taller and taller. I wasn't fat in any sense of the word, but I wasn't skinny. And then they had this, I was living in New York City, and they had an audition for Disney Cruise Line. And I went, and I thought, I just wanted to have a Disney audition experience. It was a few weeks later, and I had just accepted a show that I had been rehearsing in, and we were leaving on tour the very next day, and I got a call, and they cast me on the Disney Cruise Line. Here's the one chance I'm going to get an opportunity to perform for Disney, and I can't take it, and it was destroying me. But at the same time, there is such a word as integrity that you really need to embrace. And I would not leave the other contract high and dry when they were leaving the next day and be like, sorry,
Can I give you a scenario and see what you would have done in this case? Say you were working on like a kitschy little musical that they do around the holidays that everybody knows by heart and throws things at you for. Then you've sent a demo up to a New York casting agent, which you knew you shouldn't have done. You shouldn't have contacted them and sent the video because the man at the front said, send in your videos, and
you're
they're
going to
not
make it
looking at
really
their,
hard for me to say.
right? Okay, yeah. Integrity. Okay, so life goes the way it's supposed to go, Cami. So literally 20 minutes later, because Megan Maroney, people that are, our community supports one another here. People are loving about pushing people forward. That's the only people I have in my circle around me are people that are supportive and loving of other women, of people that are like, go get it, do it, here's the number. I mean, she was even giving me the name of the agency. So they literally had messaged me back within 20 minutes of receiving my video, can you get to New York to audition for Hedwig and the Angry Inch? And because of integrity, didn't get to go back up there. Lena Hall opened with him on Broadway and was beyond exceptional and was better than anything that I could have come up with my voice, and is extraordinary. So I would have gotten it. Maybe a swing, or maybe well, it's good seeing you. We'll think about you. We know that you can't really dance, and this part is for a person basically standing there that has to just act with their face and sing, which is really the best I'll probably ever get on Broadway. I mean, if you put me in a dance number. What would you have done?
Honestly, I probably would have done what you did.
Okay.
I probably would have finished.
I feel better. I
really feel that something will come back around to you in its time, because Disney Cruise Line did come back around to me. Because when I called them and I told them that I had, I was in a contract right now and I was leaving to go on tour, wonderful man, Ray DiChiara, said, I want you to call me as soon as your tour ends. He said, I respect that so much. You call me when your tour ends, and I will get you on a ship. And I called him the day after it ended, and they had me on a ship within 2 weeks.
Wow.
And So that is what I embrace, that I do believe it will come full circle to you when you hold on to that integrity, doing the right thing when nobody else is looking, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I had just a couple moments of selfishness in theater where I
We
think
all do.
I had committed to something and said like, can I get out for just this one role? I mean, we have enough time to recast it, and the people were bitter that that happened to. And I was like, looking back retrospectively, you have to have that. You can't just be like, if you want to go play Mrs. Lovett, you got 20 years to do it. You don't have to do it right this second. Do you know what I'm saying? Which is another role that you should do as well.
Thank you.
Oh God, you're so good.
If only you were my casting director. No, it's hard. This whole theater, maneuvering yourself in this world of theater it's difficult, and you don't know sometimes what the right thing is to do. You don't always know. And gosh, being a Broadway, I mean, that used to be my number one
That was
dream.
my thing since little child. I mean,
Yeah.
New York, I had posters of New York everywhere. When we would go to New York, because my family was from Jersey, they'd let me go once in a while, but it was like back in the day before Disney had taken it over, and it was a scary place back in the 80s and stuff. And they'd hand you flyers, and I'd pin them on my wall. I mean, I was obsessed with being on Broadway in New York City. It was all I wanted to do.
No, I get that. When I found out that movie musicals did not really exist anymore.
You wanted to be in movie musicals.
Yeah.
Explain why you didn't just want to be in musicals. I just need to know this for myself. I'm just interested.
Because of Judy Garland. In basically anything she did, but particularly when I was younger, it was The Wizard of Oz. But then Meet Me in St. Louis, and I was blown away in that, watching her. Then Liza Minnelli comes along, and I see her in New York, and I'm just,
How much talent did this family have?
Right, and then Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, the choreography. Now, I was never a dancer, but when you watch those choreography numbers, it just blows my mind what their ability is. Singing in the Rain and Sound of Music, Julie Andrews. These were the things I grew up on. I was at my grandmother's watching Judy Garland marathons every Saturday or every weekend. I loved watching these movies. Broadway was my next thing. Then I'm like, okay, I need to be on stage. I need to perform. I need to be on stage. And my dad, I remember a ticket came available for 2 tickets for a bus trip to New York City to see Phantom of the Opera, which was my favorite Broadway show. I was singing that at 14 years old. I was just singing that Carlotta stuff over and over and over. I mean, I went for Carlotta, not for Christine, and that was not normal.
That one wasn't normal. Yeah, because I wanted to be Christine.
Right, I wanted to be Carlotta. So anyway, we got a phone call from my vocal teacher, Mrs. Marjorie Staggerwalt in Tamaka, Pennsylvania. And she said, we had 2 cancellations on the bus. Would you like to go? And my mom, I remember that they talked it over, and they said, okay, we're going to take Cami. Dad's going to take me. So they took me on, my dad took me on my first Broadway trip to New York City on this bus trip with my singing teacher, and it was packed full. And we got off the bus in New York City. I said, Dad, where is it? And he goes, where's what? I said, the Broadway Theater. I said, where is it? The Broadway Theater. Oh. And he said, what do you mean, where is the Broadway Theater? I said, the theater, where all the shows are performed in New York. He said, you're standing on it, honey. And I looked down, and then there was a theater, and there was a theater. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I thought, oh, the chances of me getting on Broadway are so much better. Little did I know. But I came close a few times, but no. And then that's why I always say, somehow God directed me to Disney. I got cast in that Disney Cruise Line, and then I auditioned for, it was Lucky the Dinosaur. I don't know if you remember that. In the Time magazine, it was a 10-foot animatronic. And my parents had just moved to Florida, and I had sublet my apartment. I was on a break on tour, and I had planned to go stay with my parents in Pennsylvania, which they were no longer there. And they said, come on over to Florida and check out the performing opportunities while you're here and have a little visit. I said, what am I going to do, work for Disney? Even though I had performed on the Disney Cruise Line already, I thought that was a once and done thing. I thought I got that by the luck of the draw, And then I auditioned that week. They were looking for a comedic actress and actor, and they said, prepare a comedic monologue. And I went, oh, I can do this. I pulled out my monologues. I'm like, okay, good. I'll go for the experience again, the Disney experience while I'm in Florida. I went to the audition and they broke us up into pairs. I was paired with Mark Lerner.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and I did not know Mark, and he was so graceful, such a gentleman. And I said, hey, Mark, when are we going to get to do our monologues? They have us broken up to do these scenes, but I'm not, I don't know what this is. He goes, oh no, you'll never do your monologue. No, they're going to have us improv. I went, what's that?
Mark's like, well, there goes my shot.
And here's the thing. He's like, so here, and he explained it. He was so nice. He explained everything to me. And so we worked on some things. I'm like, oh, this is fun. Okay. I'm here for the experience anyway. So I'm like, I'm just going to have fun with it. I went in there, and Mark is such an amazing improvisational performer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have everything like kind of memorized, and what we went over it over and over and over. I had it memorized what we were going to do. I went in there, he went, whoa, he went off. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I was in awe, and I'm looking at him, and I'm just reacting. I'm like, he is so good. In my mind, I'm thinking, dear Lord, he's good. And so I'm shaking my head, and I'm nodding. I'm reacting to everything he's saying. And then I'd be like, so that's right. Oh, sugar. Ooh.
Oh, good choices.
Hysterical though. It was, and Tara Anderson and Mike Corkus started cracking up so much because the chemistry between Mark and I was so funny, because he was just really into what he was saying at the time, and every time I would go to say something that I was supposed to say at the end of the sentence that we had rehearsed, because in my mind I have it scripted. I'm still in script land and not in improvisation land. They called us up the next day and they cast us, both of us, as husband and wife. They loved our chemistry so much, and they were like, this is exactly what we wanted.
So, it's like where Disney originated, and I was listening to that SAC. I don't know if you got a chance to watch that or not, but SAC every night at 7, everybody should watch it, because it just takes your mind off life for an hour, and it's just fun, But they had Dave, the founding guy, on Monday. He said, really, the improv itself was Renaissance, and then it moved to Disney with this group of people, and where they were allowed to be out there playing and doing the stuff. And that's what people loved at Disney, was when they would see someone out there. That was what they love. I'm not like my feelings about things, because I can't deal with the Magic Kingdom because it's so many people all the time, and it was just but I observed, and anything live that came out there was when people's faces lit up, when they were interested, when the drudgery of the hot and the children was not, and it was like a lot of the adults, but kids too. So there's nothing that beats that. Can I tell you my Corcus story real quick?
Yes, please.
Okay. Because I don't usually audition for things, because I had severe anxiety disorder, which I'm surprised that they maybe haven't diagnosed you with a little bit of it. Probably. And they needed real Jewish people, and they knew maybe 2 of them that could act in town, and I got called. It was like a fluke, but I loved it. I got to sing. I got to tell a story that was engaging and fun for the kids. I loved it. I went in there to go audition for, maybe it was Street Mode. There was one time I tried. Because I just wasn't feeling great about my comedic stuff, and I was second guessing and third guessing. Why am I here? All these people. And I kept hearing these really tiny young girls doing their bell, doing the bell side. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go in there with the bell side. And I'm going to act like an old smoking woman that's like 75. And I walked in and I'm like, I'm Belle. Welcome to my home. I did it. And they were like, what? And I got called back. Then I didn't know enough about improv to get called back, though, for this second interview, because I no-butted everything. I didn't know how to yes-and. I think I almost brought up everything that you're not to bring up in a theme park. Oh, it's hot out here. Wow, you're bald. I don't even know what I said to people. It was all the wrong. It was nerves and just no faith and not enough training. And I did not get it. But this is the thing with theme park. I don't know how I have such deep, profound respect for people that bust their butts to make those shows every day and do those shows for people. Sometimes the same material, sometimes trying to have to find something new in the same material, 5 shows, 7 shows. I think it's one of the most disciplined forms of acting. I think it's always maybe made fun of by other people. I have nothing but utmost respect, more so I think, for theme park than any other kind of actor, to be honest with you. If you think about Broadway, yeah, but that's 8 shows a week. 8 shows a week. They're working 16 hours. Think about how many hours you're out there doing that. And to me, I just feel that I feel like that's not respected enough.
It's something, and I spoke to Mike Corcus about this. I owe Tara Anderson my career at Disney is because of them. We had a meeting. It was just Mike and me, and I said, Mike, I'm used to getting a script, and this was early on, and he said, you're an improvisational actress. You just don't know it yet. And I went, okay. He said, just trust it. And as I grew with Disney and grew with the company, all of a sudden, it was just playing to me. Improvisational performing was just playing and listening to what everybody was saying and taking what they said and embellishing what they said. There are people that I hold on a pedestal of improvisational performers in our area, but it is something that I do enjoy, and I especially enjoy performing for the children and the families and the elderly. I just love that aspect of it. Disney has afforded me more opportunities in my lifetime that whatever happens with my journey now with Disney, I mean, I hope I will continue to be with them because I have just had the most amazing time with Disney Cruise Line, Tokyo Disney Sea. I did a thing for their Disney Ice-capades.
Were you one of the dancers out there?
No, I did a guest appearance of a friend of mine.
Okay, friends of yours. The kids, and I know, and I feel guilty sometimes, so I'm like, who cares? But the kids come in there and they're so into it, and they're into the, I call the kids like the Kristoffs and the little Annas or the friends of them.
The friend.
And whatever. And they're so excited about the place, they're like, it just brings them joy. And I never got it because I see things in big corporations, and I do a lot of research on like Forbes.
With anything that you pursue in life, I think it ends up being what you make it. And because on the ship we were confined and we were secluded at times, but I think you have to get into a mindset, okay, this is going to be a good experience, or I'm going to make myself, it's going to be a bad experience. I'm going to be determined to make this the best experience I can make it. And if it's not, you learn from it and you move on, and new adventures and journeys. It's what we call life. We go down roads that some doors close, some doors open. We find out what works for us.
I didn't understand that you could fail before I worked with the military. I didn't believe that was an option. I did not like it as an option. So the people there they're like, failure is the only way to learn, and you're allowed to do it. It was like, I felt with working in the Air Force, it's like the first place I've been allowed to fail and be okay. It's okay to fail.
Yeah. You have to fail at times in order to build your character. When you get back on the horse, that shows who you are.
Yeah.
If you've fallen and you get back on the horse, and every time you get back on the horse, you have learned something new. You have become stronger. You have developed new abilities.
Mostly, I probably won't have learned how to ride a horse, though, knowing me. So
I'm allergic to
it again. Great analogy, Cami.
I want to say that one of the biggest challenges and blessings in my life has been teaching Disney traditions. See, when I was younger, Disney, it was not in my grasp. We did not have the money to go to Disney. We were in Pennsylvania. We wanted to so badly. We tried to save every year. I remember there being a jar on top of our refrigerator, and we would get $1 every Friday. That was our allowance. We got $1 every Friday, and we usually tried to save it for the hometown auction, farmers market, flea market on Wednesdays, and we'd take our $1 to the flea market and spend it. But I remember we putting that $1 into that jar, and we never had enough. We never had enough. And Mom and I, we tried writing and saying we would work anywhere. We just wanted to visit Disney. We just wanted to see Disney. And coming from, I'm going to start getting emotional. Coming from that childhood where I always wanted to go to Disney, and now I'm working for Disney. And through that, I have been able to bring every single one of my nieces, except my two new ones, my great nieces and my great nephew. I have been able to get them into Disney through Disney. And I work there now, the place that I dreamed of. It seems so, what is the right word, unattainable, out of my grasp, out of my reach. And now here I am, and I will say again, it's everything I never knew I always wanted. That atmospheric moment of all these performers who are atmosphere performers. How can we take this guest's experience, this guest's Disney experience, and make it magical for them?
You're awesome. I love you.
Awesome. I love you so much.
And we'll see what we get out of this beautiful conversation. I don't care if we don't get anything. I've had a beautiful conversation. So